stipulated by the Constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my
this
lord.
an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Hello, a very good evening to you on Legally Speaking. Legally Speaking is Supply 101.1 FM and Spectrum TV. Starting the program late today, we had some unforeseen circumstances. My name is Anthony Ebuk. I'm a legal practitioner with Law Partners and Associates, and I have another legal practitioner with me, Etini Basi Daniel. Etini, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I also have Hannah Essien. Hannah is a teacher and a regular face on the program. Hannah, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
All right, today we are looking at two very short issues, and maybe I should inform you too that the phone lines are open. You can call at any time and have any discussion you want to have with us. But the major topics we're talking about today is the appointment of Mary Odili, Justice of the Supreme Court, as the chairman body of the new chairman body of benches. Okay, we will look at some issues surrounding it. Congratulations to her in the first place, but we'll look at some issues surrounding it. Then we have a very, I think the one that's closer to us, Obombasi Albert. He's been on at the Court of Appeal, a former governorship aspirant of the YPP. I think that's the Young Progressive Party, Young People's Party. I've forgotten what they call it. But he's been on appeal and his appeal has been heard. So we'll give you an update on that. So I think we'll start with the body of benchers. I come to Etini. A new appointment has been made. We have a new chairman of the body of benchers, Mary Odili. Right? She's been at the Supreme Court and she's been a thoroughbred justice of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So, what do you have on this appointment? We also understand that Wole Enalipeku was a immediate past chairman, but he's been like shifting from a non-lawyer, a lawyer to a bencher. I'm sure a lot of people will be confused about that. So, shed more light on it.
Okay. Chief Olanikwekun was the past chairman body of benchers. He just left office today, handing over to a new person, Justice Mary Peter Odili. So I think his appointments, the appointments from as chairman body of benchers is hierarchical. So you have the vice chairman, you have the chairman. When the chairman leaves, the vice chairman takes over, and then it continues that way.
All right, Hannah, for your information, I know Hannah might not be familiar with who the body of benchers are. This is a body, one of the highest bodies of judicial organs in Nigeria. They are the people, the group that welcomes or admits intending legal practitioners to practice. So they also have the powers to suspend you from practice, to stop you from practice. It's a combination of both lawyers and judges. Okay, so you have justices of the Supreme Court as some justices of the Supreme Court as members. You have some lawyers as members, senior advocates, and the rest of it. What Itine was trying to say is that there's a hierarchy in the body of benchers. This hierarchy is not necessarily by you are called to bar, right? It's not also necessary by your call to the bench, but your appointment as a member of the
your
body of
admission
bench.
into the body
The
of
body of
benchers.
benchers.
How long have you been there?
So you have an alternation of the chairmanship, the head of the body of benchers. You will be, if judges, the judges will have their turn. Alternatively, the lawyers will have their turn. So in this particular last set of body of benchers that left, Wole Onalikpeku was senior advocate of Nigeria, was the chairman of the body of benchers, and it's now handed over to Mary Odili, who is a judge, justice of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. But I think more importantly, this appointment has come with a baggage. What's the baggage? Sometime last year, there was a call for the resignation of the former chairman of the body of benchers, Wole Onalikpeku. The call was not unconnected to a letter written by his junior in chamber soliciting for briefs from multinational corporations and companies. Now, it's usual that lawyers would introduce their firms to banks and corporate bodies that we can provide such services, legal services to you. The unusual part was where she mentioned that our principal partner, Wole Onalikpeku, is the head of the body of benchers, and as such he is in control of every judge and every lawyer in Nigeria, and can help sway decisions in court in your favor because of his privileged position. And it was totally frowned at by members of the Nigerian Bar Association, and they called for the resignation of Wole Onalikpeku, SN, former NBA chairman. Now, that call was not heeded. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that story.
I remember vaguely. Let me not say clearly. I do remember vaguely. And you talked about something like that. Maybe you mentioned it in passing.
Yes.
So the said lawyer was marketing her firm with who the senior is somebody that will be able to influence justice to your favor because he heads all the lawyers in Nigeria. Yeah, it was not a nice thing to hear that. Okay, so it's possible for the outcome of a case to be settled before you even go into trial because the judge that's going to be there is able to, you have a judge
who can make a call.
And okay, you have a partner who can, or a senior
who can put calls through and influence the way matters are decided.
Okay, yeah. So that was the story around him,
Yes.
that his junior said this is what he can make happen, being
And
chairman
this letter was all over the internet. It wasn't denied, and it gave a wrong impression. Yes, Itini, you were called to the bar by that man. So, what was your impression when you saw the letter?
Well, the letter was so unprofessional. I'll call it unethical because it's against the rules of professional conduct for lawyers. It's a breach of the rules because it amounts to there's what we call it, a term we use, ambulance chasing.
Yes.
It's sorting for briefs, using influence to get matters. I mean,
I think
it was unprofessional.
To me, the most awkward part was brandishing the fact that we could use corrupt practices to influence the way your matters will end, so you are safe with us.
My worry is if she had been if she said that, that means, does it mean that that was the practice?
Okay.
Does it mean that's normally been the practice in his chambers or in his system?
Not necessarily in his chambers. You see, it gives this wrong impression that it gives this wrong impression that cases in court are not as transparent as we want it. Anyway, the phone lines are open in case you want to call, and the numbers to call will be 090-222-31011. I repeat that number, 090-222-31011. The alternative number to call will be 070-454-17707. I repeat that alternative number, 070-454-17707. So
the NBA called for his removal based on that, and obviously he wasn't removed because he completed his tenure and has just handed over
that was a bluff. He called the ABS bluff and went through his tenure and has concluded in peace. All right.
But isn't the disciplinary committee supposed to take over things like that?
Yes, like you rightly observed earlier on, the disciplinary committee is still under the body of benches. It's an organ that is supervised by the body of benches.
On the other hand, I know he's responsible for whatever happens in his law firm, but can we actually point out that it was done by him? I mean, it was a lawyer in his law firm.
No, but you see,
no, it wasn't said it was done by him, but a lawyer in his law firm was selling him.
And the call for his resignation.
Capable of doing this, or maybe he has done it before. This is how we roll. So please come to us.
I mean, it calls for question. I agree that he's one of the most prominent and promising lawyers we've had over time. You know, he has been the NBA national president a while back, far back. So he's walked the talk. But law is about integrity. It's about integrity. When there is a call for you to resign, and you called a bluff, and you went ahead to call young law school students to the bar, NBA boycotted that call to bar because you were cheering it.
To be fair to him, I mean, we are talking as if he was convicted of having done this. A junior in his office, for whatever reasons, went and said this about him. Well, in fact, I wanted to ask you, Paul, how old is that person in the bar? He said lawyer, because it was a very childish thing to do. So, calling for his resignation, maybe his co-benchers looked and they're like, somebody said you are capable of doing this, you haven't done it, it has not been proven. It has not been, it would have been different if it was said, oh, he was caught on tape making a call to, but it's just what his junior said. So it wasn't very fair to say just because there was a call for his resignation, he should have resigned on that.
Now, look at it from this angle. I have a law firm, and I send my juniors out to canvass for briefs, which is ambulance chasing in the first place.
Is it possible that he sent?
But yet,
it's just one person. It's not as if all his juniors went around saying the same thing.
That's a particular letter that was cut.
That's what I'm saying. So perhaps that person was just excited and felt like a child would say, my father is this, and made the mistake.
Look at it. If you are a chairman of the body of benches, you are supposed to be the chief disciplinary officer of the law.
But I understand
and
the
within
lawyer
their chambers,
was disciplined.
Within their chambers, a lawyer has the effrontery to author such a letter.
Yeah.
He left your office, if you want to say, without your notice.
Yes.
It represents you. For all intents and purposes, that document represents your office. And that document has clearly stated, I am representing this office and I'm talking on behalf of this office.
The way you're sounding, you could as well have told him to drop his license because something unethical happened in his office.
No, not necessarily.
For him to resign, as he said, that means the disciplinary committee of the MBA must have found something and then they've recommended him for resignation to the body of benchers.
So that he can be investigated.
Yes, if the body of benchers had investigated and I found out he's maybe he's liable for whatever reason, or for the reason he was brought there before, then that means he would have resigned according to recommendation of the body
I don't
of
think
benchers.
I don't think he needed to wait. I don't think he needed to wait for the body of benchers to ask him or to make a request on him. Ordinarily, if it's upright, as soon as that incident hit the airwaves, he ought to have called a press conference and profusely apologize for that happening and step aside as the chairman. He wasn't asked to leave the body of benchers. Step aside as the chairman of body of benchers as a mark of respect to the integrity of the profession. I am sorry that this kind of letter could be authored in my office, because if it were some other firm, he would have come down hard on the other firms, right? Because he has a toggle of discipline. So if it has happened in my firm, the best thing to do is I hereby step down. I ask my immediate the highest ranking member from the bar to complete that tenure on my behalf. All right, so he steps down and everybody will be at peace. But he braved, he looked the bar in the eye and said, there's nothing you can do. And actually there's nothing the bar did other than to boycott the call to bar. The last is year's call to bar. So it raises a strong question on the integrity of the bench. It raises a strong question on the integrity of some very senior members of the bar. If they condoned it, if they allowed it flow the way it did, then there's a possibility that it's a commonplace amongst that cadre of the bar. I'm not trying to hold brief for anybody. I'm just trying to put it at front. All right. So beyond that, again, another controversy is raging, right? Ordinarily, when the bench takes over as the chairman of body of benchers as it is now, the bar becomes the vice chairman, and the vice chairman is usually along hierarchy, who is the oldest bencher from the bar. Okay, but in this particular case, yes, the oldest bencher has been asked to be vice chair, nominated as vice chair, but the MBA, the parent organization, has nominated a third, a lady, what's her name again? Adekola. Funke Adekola. They has nominated Funke Adekola SAN. Adekoya SAN to be the second, the vice chairman of the body of benchers, ahead of two other senior advocates of Nigeria, who ordinarily should take precedence before her. Now, what's going on in the body of benchers?
Well, before you continue, I heard you say that the chairman is rotated between the
bar and the bench.
A lawyer and a member of the bench.
So we call it the bar and the bench.
The
yes.
bar and the bench. I'm curious, does a vice chairman automatically take over from the chairman?
Yes.
The chairman?
Yes, that's it.
So how do you rotate if a vice chairman is the one that becomes chairman? Immediately a chairman leaves.
Yes.
How is the rotation possible? Is it that when a chairman is from the bench,
Yes.
you make a vice chairman to be from the bar?
Yes.
So that when the chairman goes, the vice chairman
that's,
will now.
that's how it works. That's how it's
Okay, so the
seamless.
question is, this Adekoye that they are pushing forward, is it that the person who has now been made vice chairman isn't of the bar, is of the bench?
It's of the bar.
It's of the bar.
And it's the
That
highest
is well
ranking
qualified.
member of the bar at the body of benchers. So that's where we are worried. Okay, that's where the worry comes in. Why are we? Is there something about the top two that the bar insists the third person should take over? Should be next in line, so that when Justice Odili ends her tenure, he will take over.
It could be a way of being heard, trying to be
Okay, that introduces confrontation and conflict,
Yes.
and it raises the controversy higher, the volume of the controversy. what's really going on within that system. And if that's the strongest, the highest body or organ that we have in the Nigerian Bar Association, we should be very circumspect on how we try to tear it down, because that's where the integrity hangs. All right.
Okay.
All right. So the numbers are still open. They could call us on 9090-222-31011. You could also call us on 070-454-17707. We'll be expecting your call. So now let's move to the second item on the board. Severally, people talk about bail, and bail is usually associated to persons arrested on suspicion of crime, persons standing trial on suspicion of crime. Rarely do people know or are people acquainted with the fact that bail can be granted post-conviction. Now, this recently got popular by the case of Obong Basi Albert, a former commissioner in Akwa Ibom State, a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and a contestant to the office of the governor under the YPP. He was convicted sometime last year on grounds bordering on corrupt practices by the Federal High Court Uyo Quorum Justice Okeke Augusta Okeke. Now, immediately or following that conviction, I think within the next 3 weeks, the Court of Appeal granted bail pending appeal in favor of the distinguished senator. Now, as much as we know, the elections have come and gone, and the raw law now comes back. What's the status of that appeal? Don't forget, the appeal was pending. The bail was pending examination of the appeal. Now, yesterday, the 30th day of March, that appeal was heard at the Court of Appeal, Calabar. However,
was it Calabar or Port Harcourt?
Calabar. Yes. Okay, that's the next question people ask. How come the bail was granted in Port Harcourt and the matter is heard in Calabar? There are two courts of appeal. It is only one court of appeal in Nigeria. As at the time the bail was taken, that was during the Christmas, I think that was the Christmas break. And usually during such breaks, you have a court in a particular region sitting as the vacation court. Okay. So Port Harcourt was the court sitting as vacation court. So urgent applications were taken to the vacation court in Port Harcourt. That's how the bail application was taken there and was heard and granted there. Subsequently, the file and everything was returned to Calabar, where its geographical jurisdiction is. Now, that appeal was heard yesterday. For those that were in court, we understand the lawyer for the distinguished senator had written for an adjournment, but the court invoked its powers and said all documents have been in the appellant's brief, the respondent brief, and the reply brief of the appellant, and there were no pending motions. So we take the appeal, and the appeal was taken as heard and adjourned for judgment. Also, Tini, help me out on that. What other things are standing to be done?
If it depends on the judgment. Now the question will be, if the judgment is not in his favor, what will happen? And then if the judgment is in his favor, what will still happen?
Hannah, would you ask the same question? Or would you have a different question to add?
I am curious. You said that, so was the lawyer wrong not showing up?
Okay. So you want to start from the lawyer being in court or out of court?
Yes.
All right. Generally, as lawyers, this is a trick of the trade, so don't think it's a normal thing. As lawyers, we try to avoid accelerating some matters, especially via the appellants. and it's a criminal matter,
Yeah.
and your client is on bail,
Yes.
part of what you try to do is to stall the matter and allow your client some level of freedom, because you don't know what the court will say.
On the side, yeah.
It gallops up to what the question he asks. If we go there and the court says, I affirm the decision of the lower court,
And he goes back to
you go back into prison because
and he
that
applies
bail,
for bail again
yeah,
and
that
goes
bail,
to Supreme
yeah,
Court.
that bail lapses immediately, and you're taken back to custody. Now, a fresh question will be asked: can the Supreme Court extend that bail? The answer is no. The Supreme Court will look at its own bail application on its merits. And what if the 5 members of the Supreme Court are not as friendly or sympathetic as the 3 members of the Court of Appeal? Right? It means you have to wait until your appeal at the Supreme Court is decided. That appeal at the Supreme Court might not be decided immediately. It usually takes a while. So you might need to serve your sentence from when bail was
Granted.
revoked.
Refused. Okay, revoked.
So your statement, this thing might begin to count, should begin to count after the bail was revoked. Your sentence will begin to run from there. So, yes, Etini, you are asked, what's the position? What's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen if that bail is, if the judgment of the court comes in and it's not favorable to the distinguished senator.
It goes back to jail. That's the worst that can happen. But they still have a right of appeal to the Supreme Court.
Okay. You know, to some people, the fact of going into custody might not necessarily be the thorn in the flesh, but the question on the conviction. All right, because you've been you've been a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. How do you marry the two profiles? Yes, Hannah.
It's not the first. I mean, was there not? I think there was a governor, not even one governor, who were convicted and went to prison. So if you committed the crime, it doesn't matter if you president and the court has found you guilty. So it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. The court
Nobody is
has found
above the law.
Nobody is above the law. Yes, nobody is above the law. Wait, I think on that heels too, we had an application yesterday, still a bail application. All right. Now this other bail application is the bail was refused at the lower court, so it's an appeal on that refusal.
Okay.
A further application up to the High Court, to the Court of Appeal,
Okay.
pending trial.
Okay.
Because the trial is ongoing in that particular matter, and the lower court said, this is a murder charge. I don't think you should be granted bail. You might abscond, right? But the Court of Appeal, as at yesterday, appeared to be maybe favorably disposed to the grant of that application, if all documents were in, right, Itini?
The grant of bail depends on a murder charge. There are conditions to grant bail on a murder charge. For example, where the accused person is sick, like seriously sick, and then his sickness can affect other inmates in the prison, then he can be granted bail. But then the Court of Appeal has a right to upturn the grant of bail or grant bail where it wasn't granted before, depending on the circumstances of the matter.
You know, as lawyers, we discuss bail as though it's a given that everybody understands bail. I've been asked by a police officer once upon a time, listen to the program, and then asked me, you guys say bail is free and that we are wrong to take monetary values for bail. How come when they go to court, the court awards grants bail in the sum of 500 million? Like the Chrisland case, is it the Chrisland, that the child that died? The principal was granted bail, I think to the tune of 30 million or thereabout. That's as recent as last week too. Now, in answer to that question, when the court grants bail and bail is set at 5.5 million or thereabout, you hear the court say, will not be worth less than the. Hey, you signed your document. Remember Abaribe, Senator Abaribe, Naya Abaribe, right? During the Nnamdi Kanu saga.
Yes.
I was asked to pay how many millions?
Can't remember.
And they all ran away. Fortunately for them, not the Nnamdi Kanu was brought back. Yes, and they all ran away from signing. It's part of the reason they say lawyers don't take their clients on bail, because it's a client at the end of the day. How do you compare the client to stand to come for trial, if any, right? So that bail granted does not mean that you go deposit that money. Okay? I know some jurisdiction, like in the United States of America, when you post bail, so will require the cash to be deposited. And when you deposit the cash, upon you being exonerated or the charge being dropped, the money is refunded to you. And I think they do that in Nigeria, isn't it? When you go to Nigerian police, you post. Why are you laughing?
Is that even possible? When you refunded, I don't think I've ever heard any refund.
In Nigeria?
In NPF, from NPF. I don't think I've ever heard of any refund of whatever you paid.
So let's hear what
to get yourself released.
Yeah, because if you check the bail bond of the NPF, as you call them, you see the bond to a certain amount, 200,000, 300,000, and they try to tell you are paying that to be released, and that's not true. But a lot of people pay, maybe not the exact amount that is written there, something lesser, or maybe something higher, depending on the capacity of the IPO to negotiate a better deal for the MPF.
Better deal.
The money has never been returned. I've never heard of it.
So is it proper? Is it proper that this is done?
No, it's
because
not.
everybody keeps complaining and nobody ever gets to do anything, and these things keep continuing. Hannah,
maybe it's better to be well informed.
You've never been there before. But you've heard people talk about it.
Yeah.
I've heard people source for money.
Yes.
Yeah. As soon as somebody's arrested, the first thing they look for is
looking for money
cash.
to use and bail the person. I'm looking for money to go and bail my person from police custody. That's how it normally.
Well, I'm even considering that maybe I'll have to. Might need to change profession, join them. It's quite lucrative. If you see the number of people that walk in through that gate, and imagine that all of them are living with some things down, they are dropping cash.
I don't know about what you're saying, that everybody who enters the police station drops cash and comes out. I don't know about that.
What do you know then?
So please don't say what.
Which part do you know?
As if at least I know I've accompanied you once to the police station, so I went inside the gate and I came out without dropping money. I know.
I went to visit a friend. That wasn't an accused person.
So you use your words properly. You don't say everybody who goes in there drops money and comes out.
Well, I get the angle you're coming at, but I think it's quite unfair that we have a system where illegality is quite assuming a position of legality. People tend to, in quotes, qualify that illegality as the norm. That when you come in, something must give, right? And even as a complainant, now the complainants even pay more. You have to pay to register your case. You have to pay to get the team to arrest the suspect. And if the suspect comes in and is not doing very well, you might have to pay for the suspect to be released. I've seen it happen.
Really?
Yes.
This is the first time I've heard this.
I've really seen it happen. They say this person can be taken on bail and he might have a problem if this matter is charged to court of fundamental right enforcement. And you need to find somehow to get this. If you don't have somebody, I know I've seen one happen. If you don't have somebody to take him out on bail, somebody
The
has
complainant will
yes.
do it. Oh, wow.
Yes, to close the case. They tell you come and close the case file.
So how is
That's
it supposed
unusual.
to be properly done? I think I've heard. I used to know. Sorry, listeners and viewers. I used to know a bit about bail when I read about it last year. But this is not what I do. I've forgotten everything. I heard you say administrative bail. That's the one you get.
Yeah, administrative bail. I think what the law expects is that you bring somebody who guarantees, I know this person is my cousin, is my son. I will bring him to the station anytime he's needed. Let him leave the station, let him leave the cell and concentrate on other aspects of his life. Whenever you want him, he will come. If he doesn't want to come, I can fulfill whatever conditions you've given him, right? And the conditions are such that it will compel me to compel him to come.
That means
So you just fill documents, paste your passports, and they have your details
and
to know how
the
to
conditions are given to you. So you should read and see whether you agree to such conditions before you can take the
Fine.
person.
Yeah, that's why
So
you're the one that signs.
that's how it's supposed
That's
to
how
be
it's supposed
done.
to be.
But it's not done that
No,
way.
it's not done that way because the law said there should be a bond, and bond to the sum of this amount. So some very smart policemen back in the days began to assume that bond to mean drop the money. So when you drop the money, you forfeit that money if it doesn't come, and the person eventually doesn't come, you forfeit the money. The person comes, you forfeit the money. And that's where we are today. And it's quite unfair that we got into ashes. Anyway, gentlemen and lady, I think we want to draw the curtains at this stage. So recall we were talking about the body of benchers, the controversies within the body of benchers, and how it's affecting the perception of the ordinary person on the legal profession and the justice system in Nigeria. And we are hoping that eventually we would get it sorted out early as possible. We are lawyers and we are worried about it. You can imagine what happens to the outsider who doesn't even know the law. We've also talked about the fact that we discussed bail using OBAS case as an instance and the other case. So far, we came in a bit late, so we apologize for that. I've been with Tini Bassi. Tini Bassi is a legal practitioner. I've also been with Hannah, a same gentleman and lady. Thank you very much for always keeping us company. My name is Anthony Ebu. I hope everything you do from now till next week when we meet again will be legal.
The Nigerian police force, which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which